Hello everyone, Ollie here from Talk Cinema, and I'm here with NerdTube.
Hello people of the internet.
And we have a guest with us today. This is Robert.
Pleasure to be here, thank you very much for having me.
And we are here to watch Final Destination Bloodlines. This is the 6th installment in the Final Destination franchise, and it's been 14 years since the 5th film, so it's kind of crazy. So I think I'm going to go first. I think we agreed on saying that I'm going to go first and talk about my experience on the franchise, and then going into this one, and then Robert's going to go next, and then NerdTube's going to go last, and you'll see why in that order scene. So yeah, I'm going to go first. Okay, so my thoughts on the Final Destination franchise. Funny enough, I've only just finished watching the 5th film for the first time. Well, actually, the whole franchise for the first time. And I'll get into my thoughts after the film, because we actually haven't got that very long until we have to go in and watch the film. Yeah, overall the franchise I like. It's not The Godfather by any means. It's a fun, schlocky franchise based on kills, kind of similar to Saw, like the kind of torture porn. That's the word. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's as torture porn as Saw, but it's like that. But we won't say too much in terms of the concept, because we'll let NerdTube let him experience this film and see what it's about, and then we'll talk about it more afterwards. So yeah, the franchise, I'd say I like overall. It's quite fun. There's some better than others, which again I'll talk about later on after the film. But yeah, I like them. So yeah, this is kind of my first experience into the franchise. And then we'll get on to Robert's thoughts as well. But in terms of coming into this film, I hope it's good. Yeah, I actually saw the trailer before watching all 5 previous films, and yeah, it looks fun. I hope it's fun, and yeah, don't have much else to say, so I'm going to pass on to Robert.
My thoughts on the Final Destination franchise. Solid horror movie franchise, like Ollie said before. It's similar to Saw, horror porn, as he stated. Torture porn, yes, all of the above. In terms of the films, all solid, all interested, set around the same theme of deaths and everything. Well, like 14 years has it been since they...
Yeah, since the 5th one, yeah.
Since the 5th one. All I'm hoping for is something to stand out in the timeline, because if you're going to revive a horror franchise, I would have to say they have to have something to stand out amongst the rest if they're going to try and revive it. Obviously, I'm hoping for something to stand out. I'm quite a big fan of Final Destination. I haven't seen them since about 4 months in order. But yeah, I think it's a solid franchise, and I can't wait to see how this one turns out. I've seen the advertisement. I think the cast itself is quite solid build-up. I've seen some scenes in the actual trailer. I can honestly say it's going to be gory enough for the average horror film enjoyer. Well, I can't wait to see how this turns out. I'll pass to NerdTube then now.
My thoughts on this film. Not so many. Now, I've never watched any of the films before, because I only ever heard of the franchise once, which is going to be a shock to many of you horror fans out there. Now, I'm still trying to delve deep into horror movies as a genre, because as a filmmaker, I need to be able to explore other genres in order to get full fleshed out. Now, so I'm very inexperienced when it comes to this franchise, because as stated before, I've never heard of any of these films before, apart from once, maybe from someone I don't know or heard of from before. It might have been from you, I don't know, but I do hear from you guys that it's a fun horror franchise, and if this is torture porn like Saw, then I'm going to be expecting a lot of clenching my hands.
Think of the monkey.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to be expecting too much. Not so many expectations. I'm just hoping that I'm going to have a shit ton of fun. And yeah, wish me luck.
Okay, so we're going to head in now, and as Rusty would usually say, which he isn't here unfortunately, yeah, roll the preview.
Final Destination Bloodlines has been declared the best Final Destination movie ever. It's a bloody good return, an absolute instant classic. Good luck. Final Destination Bloodlines. Get tickets now.
Ready?
Penny for your thoughts.
In for a penny.
Right, we're gonna go outside and yeah, we're gonna see you there. Okay, we are out, and I'm not gonna lie, at least I can only speak for myself, but my bloody vision is literally coming out. I'm just like, shit, the sun is so bright, because obviously I've never had it before with the sun coming out of the cinema and it being so bright as we were coming down the car park. I was just like, shit. So anyway, because NerdTube hasn't got that much to say apparently, we're going to hand it over to him first, and then depending on if it's going to be me or Robert next, we will see. So gonna give it to NerdTube to see what his afterthoughts are on Final Destination Bloodlines.
Right, regarding this film, yeah, I thought it was quite fun, but also quite shocking at the same time. Because I know I've watched a few horror films, but I've never watched a horror film with this much gore in it. And it just blew me away and shocked me to bits. Now, for the positives. Yeah, I did kind of like how they used the violence in this film. It provided a lot of shock value. The cinematography was just absolutely outstanding and gave us a lot of visual detail on what was going on. I could also say with the editing as well, because I could, like in the opening scene, I could feel a lot of tension going on from all the sound effects, all the cuts, pretty much the editing itself really, and the cinematography does back that up really well. The characters, yeah, I did enjoy them on screen, and then there was the overall story of trying to break the cycle. I think that was a really, really good story on how you should be able to enjoy life and every second of it before it just ends. So I did really enjoy this film quite a lot. Now, as for the negatives, I didn't really get to care about only like a couple other characters. I cared about most of them, to be fair, which provided a lot of shock value to me. But as for the other two characters, I thought, meh, fuck you two. A bit like that kid at the very beginning. I hated his guts. I wanted him to die. But the fact that it was just a premonition in the film and not like in the actual what was going on bit, that like pissed me off. And I really wish he was like just dead. Yeah, like fuck you, kid.
Dead.
Yeah, dead. Overall, I did enjoy this film. I'm just still shocked about how much violence, gore this film provided for us.
What
And
any other positive, negatives, or mixed? Anything you're mixed on?
yeah, I did feel a bit mixed about the amount of goriness, because although to be fair, this is my first time watching this film, and I've seen
this franchise.
yeah, this franchise, and I did see gore in other films, but never to this extent. So like, I've watched gore in like the film Logan and the Evil Dead movies.
Oh, classics.
And I'm just shocked. Overall, this is quite a good film. I did enjoy myself. I've had fun with it. I'm a bit disappointed that the Grim Reaper didn't show up as a character. Although I guess you could say that he's just an antagonistic force rather than just a living character itself. Yeah, I'd probably give this film 7 out of 10. It's a good movie. It's really good. On to the rest of you.
As a horror fan and a Final Destination fan, I've quite enjoyed this movie as a whole. The concept of Final Destination's always been a premonition, then constant fear of death hovering over your shoulder, and everyone else kind of being on the fence of, this can't be real, can it? But this one takes the premonition, instead of giving it, it's giving the premonition of something that's happened quite a long time ago and giving it to a new character. Obviously, from the timing, this looks like it gave you the first time death even gave someone a premonition, then stopped it, and this as a whole can explain the entire Final Destination franchise from start to finish. It's constantly a roller coaster of how can they die, and having one character being able to cheat death for so long during every single Final Destination film until it finally catches up with her is quite a shocking idea. Coming into this movie, I thought, this is going to flop. This is definitely going to not hold up to the hype of the very first Final Destination, but somehow it's managed to use a good use of practical effects and props to definitely give you interesting visual. If it's not the blood coming at you with your face, it's definitely either what's going to happen, how are they going to get through this. If it's not the truck with the logs going past, that gives you an overwhelming feel like what could happen next. And then definitely the characters, it's a compelling choice of seeing them go from this can't be real to, oh my god, I'm on the chopping block. As a whole, I would give this movie a 8 out of 10, only slightly above, because I'm a massive horror movie fan, and Final Destination has always been an interesting topic for me, with it being similar, like instead of a killer like in Jigsaw, it's one of those types of horror movies where it's like gore, 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 death scene to death scene, and the in-between bits, like them always running and hiding. Instead of a killer, it's a outside force that they can't see coming unless you can literally see the amount of possibilities you can die. As negatives, yeah, a few characters you couldn't get attached to because they were off screen, obviously, but some of the characters you do get to attach to, they have a really compelling backstory, very compelling drive to try and beat this, because instead of a group of friends like in the other movies, it's a family. A bloodline, as it says. Definitely a good use of special effects, visual props, and practical effects with the massive fireballs and trains being derailed. But I can't believe the entire franchise of Final Destination started with a penny. Penny for your thoughts. I'm going to hand it back to the main man himself, Ollie.
Okay, so my afterthoughts on Final Destination Bloodlines. So, very cool seeing ℚ𝕗𝕗's thoughts on the franchise, as he's not seen any other film in the franchise. Obviously, Robert has seen it, but obviously a few months ago, and obviously I've literally just watched the previous 5 films today and yesterday. So, having all those 3 different aspects, opinions and viewpoints of this franchise is interesting. So, to me, I had a lot of fun as well. The experience was definitely was brought up because being in the cinema with these guys, having their reactions be so being laughable, terrified, and just a mix of both was quite fun. So I think if I'd watched this at home, it would have been slightly different, because obviously I'd watched the previous 5 by myself at home on a tiny screen. So, but having it on the big screen with some of your friends is just a lot of fun. So I will say, if you have friends that do love horror films, especially the Final Destination films, go watch it with them. Friends, family, whatever, just don't die along the way. So the good, the kills, the carnage, Carnage Candy. That's a reference to Randy in Scream.
More blood, more gore. Carnage Candy.
But yeah, it delivers on the Carnage Candy with the kills and the brutality. And yeah, every time there was a kill, we just kept like gasping and just it was just crazy. So it delivered on that. The characters, I would say, for the most part, I liked. My favourite character, I'd probably say, is probably the guy with the piercings. Although I feel like you got what you were coming for, like with the
emo guy.
Yeah, the guy that got sucked into the spoilers, by the way, got sucked into the what was it, the metal? What was it, the thing? Yeah, in the hospital. Yeah, the hospital where he gets sucked in with the wheelchair. It was it was weird. Anyway, so yeah, so continue on from the good. So the gore, some of the characters were great. Would I say this is the best bunch of characters? I mean, again, like what Robert said, he said that something that was quite different, and I actually quite like, is that the film follows a family rather than a group of friends, let's say. It's a bloodline, of course, hinting at the name of the film. So it was quite fun that they changed it up, because after watching these previous 5 films, basically all together in basically 2 days, was quite draining in a way. Like, some of them were good, some were better than others, but it was just having that wash, rinse, repeat of very similar plots was just a bit like, oh, come on, it's kind of a bit of a drag. But having this nice fresh take, not only on the family but also some of the plot lines as well, with having a character back in the past and then having that drawn into the present, having a bloodline, having that premonition themselves and carrying on with that was quite a cool concept. So basically what I'm trying to say is that it was a fresh take having that new theme happen in this film. So another positive. So characters, gore, positives. Negatives, there's something in there was something that I was like about, and I wasn't sure. Maybe that might have been more of a mix, the negative, but I can't remember. That's really annoying now, because there's so much going on in my head, I can't remember everything. But I feel like there was something, whether it was a mixed or a negative, that I was like, shit, I couldn't quite catch my head on that. But actually, as it's on my mind now, in the credits where it said in memory of Tony Todd, do you remember seeing that in the credits? Yeah, so Tony Todd is the guy that they went to see in the hospital. He said, that would be me, and he's the guy in the chair, and he said good luck and everything. That's Tony Todd. He is obviously you won't know him because he's in the previous films. He was in the first film, second... Sorry?
I did hear about him, though, to be fair. I when I first saw it, I said, yeah, I recognise that name before.
Yeah, so he's in other films as well, but other than obviously Final Destination. But regarding his character in the film, I keep forgetting his name, so I'm just going to refer him as Tony Todd. Yeah, so he... Huh?
JB wasn't his name.
Yeah, JB, but that was kind of his nickname for that film particularly, but he has another name. But Tony Todd, we'll refer him to. So he was in the first film, he was in the second film, he had like a voice line in the third film. I won't say what, because ℚ hasn't seen them yet, but he has a voice line in that, but not as his character, as something else, like a look like, he wasn't in the fourth film because he had like scheduling conflicts with another film, so he wasn't able to do that, but he was in the fifth film, and now of course this is his final role because he passed away back in November last year, so that's why obviously it's in memory of Tony Todd, and luckily he filmed all his scenes before passing away, before it came out, so rest in peace to Tony Todd. You were great in this role, and I'm really happy that he got a good send-off, because with his role he managed to get a good there was a good close-off with his character, because again, spoilers, at the beginning of the film we see this little black kid on the Seattle Tower thing, I forgot what it's called now. What was it called again? Skyline? Was it the Skyline? I think it was the Skyline. Terrible names. So. But yeah, it is based on a real location, which I think people are now going to be terrified to go on now after seeing that. But anyway, yeah. So Tony Todd's character, we see him as a little boy, but we don't obviously know that until we are revealed it near the end of the film. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool that they able to tie that in with his character when he was younger. 'Cause obviously, the beginning of the film is set years before, and we see the grandmother of the descendants in the present. Yeah, the premonition. Yeah. So, yeah, bad. There was something that was in my head, but I tried to remember it, but I can't remember it because obviously I've got other things that wrap around in my head. So, apologies about that. So I'm gonna have to just leave it because I'm just gonna waste more time talking and blabbering on. So, what would I give this out of 10? I'm gonna give this so you gave it an 8 out of 10. You gave it a 7 out of 10. I'm kind of between the two. I'm like, I don't know which to pick. So I'm just going to play it safe and say 7 as well. I think it was decent. A decent film in the franchise. A nice breath of fresh air as well. Carnage Candy was great. Great gore and stuff and effects. Some great characters. Funny. Annoying. Mix of everything, which is what you kind of need for every character. You don't want everyone to be the same. So 7 out of 10 for me, and also for NerdTube, and then 8 out of 10 for Robert. So yeah, we really enjoyed ourselves and having that experience of having that thrills, and again, repeating myself with the lot of gore and everything was a lot of fun. And ranking. I forgot about that. Alright, so Robert's going to give his ranking on the Final Destination films, and then I'm going to give mine, so yeah.
For my ranking, I have to go first because it builds the premise of the first movie.
Is your favourite?
Is my favourite, yeah, because it builds the premise. It's the nostalgic Final Destination that we all go back to if you're a massive fan. Then second, I would have to say The Final Destination. It's the one we were left with until now. Then obviously, I'm going to have to say for third, Bloodlines. Definitely because of the practical effects and everything. But I can't really decide between the others because they had nothing else really special to send them off with. So first, the Final Destination. First Final Destination, then The Final Destination, then Bloodlines, and the others are just jumbled together, I would have to say.
But yeah, my ranking of the franchise as of now, because we didn't stay around for any post-credit scenes, so I don't know if there was any credit scenes. So, anyway, the rankings of all 6 films so far. So, my least favourite, The Final Destination. I personally thought it was terrible. I didn't like the effects, the 3D effects when they mash it all together, because it was made in 2009 when 3D in films, and personally to me, 3D for films, I just could never get the vibe. I just don't get the 3D. I don't get the appeal of 3D because it just looked really funny to me. It's not effective to me, like with when you go to watch IMAX 3D films or 4DX 3D films. Like I went to go watch Jurassic World Dominion in 4DX 3D, and the 3D was just weird. It was kind of blurry and weird, so 3D doesn't do anything for me. But for the fact that when they film these 3D films, particularly for that format, it's weird to have that and then have it when you're watching it regularly, and it looks really goofy. So that's one of the things. But with the characters, I thought were just not great at all. So Final Destination is my least favourite from 2009. My 5th favourite is the 5th film, Final Destination 5. It was okay. It wasn't amazing, but you know, it was right. Number 4 I think was Final Destination 2. I need to double check on my Letterboxd. So Final Destination 2 is my 4th favourite. Then Bloodlines is my 3rd favourite, the new one of course, and then the first one's my 2nd favourite, and then the 3rd one's my favourite of the franchise. I think the 3rd one has got some fan favourites. I really like the main character in that film. I also like the gore as well. I like the kills, but then again, this one's really good as well with kills, the new one. So, but yeah, that's my ranking of the Final Destination films so far. So, who knows if there'll be a new one coming up, depending on how this one does at the box office and audiences as well. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment below what you thought of this film if you watched it, and let me know what your thoughts on each Final Destination film is. So yeah, thanks for coming along, Robert.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. I've quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, so yeah, perhaps we might have you in the future. If, well, depending on what films you like, because there's obviously certain ones that you do like and don't like.
Yeah, I've always been a bit of a horror fan. Action heroes and obviously anti-heroes such as Ghost Rider and other brutal murderers such as Deadpool and such.
So if we see you next, it will likely be like a Marvel, DC, or horror film, basically.
As long as you want me, I'm more than happy to return.
Yeah.
It'd be great, actually. It was actually nice meeting you and getting to watch this film and hearing your opinion.
Yes, so that's it from us. Whatever the film we'll be watching next and whoever will be in the video, we will see you in the next video. Bye bye.
Sayonara.
Bananas.